Coach. How are you? Long time no see. I guess first of all, obviously the big news last week about Colin Smith. Can you give us your reaction to that news? Obviously, a player who has meant so much to your program the past few years.
We're going to miss Colin, on and off the court. He's a great personality. Love being around his teammates. We love being around him. And so it's unfortunate, but, because of HIPAA, I can't really go into any specifics. It's not COVID related. And so I can just leave it at that. But, he's going to be fine. And we're rooting for Colin in every which way because he has a bright future, whether it's in basketball or without.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. Going into the past two seasons, you kind of knew what the challenge was for each of those two teams. So in 2018, 2019, that team, it was about, learning to be the hunted as they were predicted to finish first in the conference. And then last year was working in 9 new players. At this early juncture, do you know what the top challenge is for this team?
Well, it's going to be, still trying to build chemistry and some continuity, based on the cycle that we're in, right now with COVID and everything. There's so much adjusting you have to do with your team and with your program. So it's just finding chemistry and continuity with the pieces, the new players that we've added. But we're excited about that. That's a challenge that we're looking forward to. And then style of play, looking at, what style of play best suits this team that we have this year.
Coach, good to see you again. Obviously, with how last season ended to where we are now, how has it been with you as a coach and dealing with the players and where they've been maybe at home or things like that, maybe back on campus now? How has that been to handle those players, and what has this offseason been for you personally?
It's been a challenging offseason, but as you know, you've been around us. We're a no excuse program, so our motto is we just have to find a way. No matter what. It's been very unusual. Our players were gone pretty much the entire spring and summer. So for us not to be around our student athletes for that period of time is definitely uncommon. So that's been a big adjustment. And then getting them back under the new protocols and things you have to do has been another adjustment. But to our kids' credit, everyone has bought into what we want to do. And it's just a process. We know it's going to be a different season. It's going to be some challenges that we don't actually see right now that could pop up. We just have to be ready for them and take them as they come.
Hey, Coach. So one of the things that I guess has been brought out is, I don't want to mention it as a bubble because I guess they want to call it like controlled environment for you guys. Kind of talk a little bit about looking forward to that season of playing under a controlled environment. I'm sure you watched a lot of the NBA games and you saw that bubble format. Do you think that this is something that can definitely help with college basketball this season so we don't see kind of what's been going on with football of games being postponed a little bit?
Well, I think we all are hopeful that that'll work for us. We won't have a $150 million bubble like the NBA imposed on their players and staff. So a little different bubble for us. But I think the concept is a good one. I think by keeping the numbers down, by keeping it where you can social distance as best you can, except on the court. I think those are all, good ideas, and it's something that we have to work with. But our guys, they're aware of that, and just like I am, and we're adjusting to that. I mean, you have to remember in basketball, it's a touching sport. It's a whether it's bumping physically, whether it's patting someone in the back for doing something good. It's a sport where there's a lot of contact, and so you have to understand that and and take the appropriate measures when you can to keep washing your hands, to use sanitizer, things of that nature, to make sure we keep ourselves out of harm's way as best we can.
Johnny, and along those lines, how much did you maybe, or you and your staff maybe study how the NBA handled things with the bubble, or even in maybe a broader sense, how like college football has done it with UCF in particular, to make sure you don't have any challenges that arise?
Well, we've tried to watch what they've done both, NFL football, as well as collegiate football, of course, the NBA, and even baseball. We try to watch what they're doing and try to find best practices for us. Like I said, the things I think that are pretty common, the same things when you're away from us, it still has to be, wash your hands frequently, social distancing and wearing a mask. I mean, those are things that you have to try to, implement because as student athletes, and if you want a chance to play, those are some sacrifices you're going to have to be willing to make. And so those are things that we saw, you know, and all of those, they were fairly consistent. And then when you're on the court, you have to let those things go. You have to go compete. You know, I don't think you can be, you know, thinking about those things because they don't apply to your sport. You know, you just hopefully that everyone that you're competing against are abiding by the same type of rules and policies that you're abiding by. And that's the safest we can be.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for your time today. Obviously, early voting started today. Months ago, I remember you tweeted out that you were going to give your guys November 3rd off to go vote. So I've got a couple of questions about that. Just number one, how many guys are registered to vote? What has your message been to the guys about voting? And did they have any question about voting if they're first-time voters about, you know, the uncertainty, how to do it? Because I remember the first time I voted, I wasn't sure what I was doing. And then you kind of get used to it. I'm just wondering what your take is on all those questions.
Well, absolutely. All of our guys are registered to vote. You know, as any basketball team would have it, our guys aren't all in state. So the guys that can legally vote will vote for us. And it's just to exercise their right. I mean, that's your right to vote. You know, they're of age, and, you know, we want them to exercise their right to do that. And then for us, other than that, is just a function of teaching them exactly how you go into the polls, how to vote. We're actually going to go early. We're going to go before the 3rd, actually. We're going to vote early. I think for our guys, again, trying to abide by the protocols and trying to make sure that we keep ourselves out of harm's way as best we can. Figure may go earlier on a day where maybe it won't be as crowded. I think that may be the best, you know, solution for our team. That's the approach that we've taken. So our guys are, you know, we'll go in a situation where we can kind of, you know, walk guys through it who maybe hadn't voted before, so they understand, you know, the process.
Coach, CJ Walker obviously transferred to your program during the offseason from Oregon, local guy from Sanford. What are your expectations? What does he bring to the table? And do you expect him to be eligible to play for you guys this season?
We're hopeful that he'll be eligible. He's applying for a waiver. We're excited to have CJ back home and in our program. We think he's a terrific addition. You know, just his versatility, you know, like we like to play with versatile players. He's as versatile as they come. He can play outside. He can go inside. The way we defend, we think he's going to be an excellent, you know, two-way player for us. His ability to defend around the rim, his ability to guard multiple positions on the perimeter, all things that we're excited about from CJ. So we're fortunate to have him in our program.
Hey, Coach, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. Obviously, since we last saw you, there's been a lot that's happened in this country. Can you discuss your thoughts on what your guys have done to become more engaged and more active? And what have those discussions been like for you?
Well, I mean, our discussions have been, you know, broad discussions just about the things that you see going on, you know, nationwide, and having our guys, just educating our guys on what's going on. And that's the main thing you can do, is just try to educate your players, whether it's on Zoom meetings, whether it's in a practice setting, just to keep educating them as to what's going on, and trying to just, you know, everyone wants to make it better. You know, the main thing is, how do you make it better? Whether it's a basketball team, whether it's your state, whether your country, you want to be the best, and it's always striving to do that. And the way you do that is, I think, it's through education. So we try to do that with our players, whether it's, you know, with policing, whether it's social justices, or whatever it is that's the topic, you know, that we're covering. We try to make sure our guys, you know, grasp it, and if they have any questions, ask questions. You know, a lot of, you know, people in the room are older as far as us as staff. Just try to, you know, give them insights and try to educate them, because that's the best thing that I've seen, is just education is the key. And whether it's what we're dealing with now or just, you know, in the classroom, it's just so important that you get a quality education to understand what's going on in the world.
And Coach, kind of in that same vein, just for you personally, when you've looked at all the activism that has happened in America and continues to happen still over racism, police brutality, social inequality, just what is your general thought as you've seen the past few months unfold here, and not only just athletes, but everyone in America sort of speaking out and trying to end these ills?
Well, I mean, when you're hearing a lot of young people, really, you're watching the young people, and the activism that they've shown has been amazing. for what they want. And then you look at our, country as a whole. I mean, this place has an amazing promise, and we all know that. And it's trying to reach that promise, which is always the goal. And we should always be striving to get better. I mean, I don't care if you're, red state, blue state, or wherever. It doesn't matter to me. It's just, I think everyone wants this country to be the best it can be and wants to be the best in the world. To do that, I think we have to always strive for that. If we're not striving for that, where are we going to go? We're striving to be mediocre at that point. That's what I would tell my team is we're competing against other teams. Do we want to be mediocre or do we want to be champions? Do we want to be great? And I think everyone in this country wants to be great, and we have to find a way to work together to get that done. And that's everybody pulling in the same direction. And I know we can do it. That's been the promise of America, and it's right there in front of us. We just have to go ahead and take it. I think these young people have really shown us, a lot, over this last, 5-6 months with everything that's been going on. And I'm watching that, and I'm just amazed because I was a young player. I was a young a young kid back in the '60s, and so me seeing that and come back, and then I'm seeing this, it just amazed me. I'm disappointed that we're having to go through this again, but by the same token, I'm really amazed and proud of the young people for their ability to kind of like, hey, we care about our country, want to see our country, look a certain way, and they're willing to march and be active to try to accomplish that.
Coach, you touched on CJ Walker a little bit earlier. What have you seen from the other new guys that'll be seeing the court for the first time for UCF this season, whether it be from freshmen, transfers, players coming off redshirt seasons, and specifically in a sense to replace guys like Caesar and Colin?
Well, I'm excited about all of our incoming players. I think they all provide something, to our program. Of course, you mentioned CJ. Of course, he's going to be, terrific for us. But also guys like Sean Mobley, who sat out last year, that's in our program, can play multiple positions for us. A really good feel for the game. He's kind of like a glue guy. Just makes everybody around him better when he's on the team. And very, very talented player. I'm very excited about, Darius. Darius is a young man who transferred from Louisville, grad transfer. Can also play multiple positions, really can shoot the basketball, but has really good leadership skills, very vocal. And that's something that we were looking for, a vocal leader. And he's really provided that for us this preseason. So very, very excited about him. And then Big Moses, who sat out for us last year, a 7-footer, still developing as a player. He's raw, but I love his energy. I love his effort. He competes. He works hard on the court every time he steps on the floor. And now those things are going to bode well for him, because if you go out there and you compete as hard as he competes, a lot of positive things happen for you individually and for our team as well.
Coach, I know everything is still being finalized in terms of a schedule, but what are some of the parameters of what it will look like? I know there's going to be 20 league games. Are you hoping to play in one of those tournaments? Will that be 3 of the games and then maybe 4 more non-conference games? Is that kind of what it will look like, or what do you think the schedule will look like?
I've never been this late in the season still trying to figure out what our schedule is going to look like. But, that's just the world we're living in right now. For us, it's going to be a situation where we have the 20 league games. We're trying to plan an MTE. We're working on that. And we're fortunate because Disney's right here and they have a number of them. And I think they're consolidating them, bringing them all here. So we're looking to see kind of where we'll stand in that situation. I'm hopeful that we'll get one of those spots and we'll be able to play there, which will be great. That still limits our travel, which is excellent. And then we're looking at still playing some of the games that we have on schedule. Like I think we open up with Oklahoma, for instance. So we have them on the 28th. We open up with them. We also have Florida State this year. So we play them. We would go up to Florida State to play. So those are 2 of our games. And we have Michigan. So Michigan is the only game that we have if we, with those 3 that are out of the state. So we're trying to hopefully keep our travel down, as you can imagine, and as best we can, and look forward to, those early season, preseason games, but also looking forward to conference play. We have a great conference, a lot of talent, and a lot of parity, and excited about that as well.
Coach, could you expound a little bit on Sean Mobley? I mean, I know it's not going to be just one guy replacing Colin Smith, but as a guy who can be like a stretch 4, he sort of seems to fit that role really nicely. What do you think he's going to provide for you this season?
I think he's going to provide leadership first and foremost. I think he's an unbelievable competitor. He's a great teammate. So he's going to provide really good leadership for us. And then with his skill set, as you just mentioned before, he can stretch 4, stretch 5. So he can play either position for you because he's 6'9", like 235. So he's, with his size and his toughness, I mean, he can play anywhere you want on that front line, which gives us the ability to kind of do some neat things on the floor. So we're excited about him, like I said, for a lot of reasons. As I mentioned earlier, he's a glue guy. He just makes guys around him better. He makes really good plays, he makes the right decisions with the ball. He's easy to play with, and I think, guys have enjoyed playing with him, last year when he sat out, and looking forward to playing with him this season.
Okay, Coach, we're going to wrap up there. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and I'm sure we'll catch up again sometime soon.
Absolutely. It's good
Thanks.
seeing you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Coach.
Take care.
Thank you.